This week, Dangote Petroleum Refinery's premium motor spirit, also known as petrol, was released by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited at the price above 1,000 per litre in the far north and a little less than that in other parts of the country. The organized private sector has called for competition in this space, and Nigerians have been hopeful for availability as well as affordability of the commodity. On Business Express today, we are going to turn our attention to energy sufficiency. Our guest in the studio is Echestephen Idoko. He is the Publicity Secretary of Crude Oil Refiners Association of Nigeria. It's a pleasure having you in our studio.
Yeah, thank you. The honor is mine.
Okay, beautiful. Let's begin the conversation. Some market watchers say the price of petrol produced by the Dangote Petroleum Refinery released by the NNPC on Monday may justify the importation of the commodity into Nigeria. What do you think about that?
Okay,
do you agree with that?
It's strange. I don't quite agree with that because the product lifted from Dangote is selling for about 55 cents. As against what we understand the NNPC was importing, which was a little above 70 cents. By looking at this on face value, the Dangote product is cheaper than whatever it was that the NNPC was importing. But it's not just only the pricing factor alone that we look at. If you look at the macroeconomic effect, the Dangote petroleum eventually would be of take naira, and then that would ease 40% burden on our FX, and that would have a longer long-term advantage to the country and the strength of our currency. So I would say in a nutshell that in the Dangote's PMS coming into the market space is unequivocally an advantage to the Nigerian economy, and a way a reprieve to NNPC, who has had to manage the crisis of balancing our FX challenge and the local demand for petroleum products. Okay,
you agree with me that there's room for competition, and you are part of the Association of Refiners as the Secretary of Crude Oil Refiners. Are we likely to see more refineries coming up to, set up just like the Dangote refinery?
Yes. As a matter of fact, we have always allayed the public of the fear of a growing monopoly with Dangote Group. Dangote being a member of Corona, so alone should be a pointer to the fact that they do not expect to, they are not intending to run as a monopoly, because the association in itself would create some level playing field. And the PIA also have empowered a number of agencies that would be able to check monopoly. We have the NMDPRA, who's going to play the lead regulatory roles, and the other agencies like the Consumer Protection and all that will be checking fair competition and all. And also the fear of a monopoly, strictly speaking, it's not there. Dangote is going to be playing with other sectors. I know of other refineries that are going to be starting their PMS production campaign. I know a few of them that are already working on bringing their PMS production line into fruition as we speak. So it's actually a move in the right direction. And you know that if the NNPC refinery in Port Harcourt delivers like it said, then it means we are going to be having more than just Dangote producing
Should we be expecting NNPC and Port Harcourt to, as a matter of fact, very soon join production, and we'll begin to see a result from it? So much has been invested in that refinery.
Well, okay, like I said,
anything from the Port Harcourt refinery?
Well, yeah, we can only rely on whatever NNPC has told us. NNPC told us that they have done some extensive work. We have seen it did shift severally. quite unfortunate, but it's also not uncommon with projects of that nature. A lot of other things could be responsible for the shift in date. We can only hope that the refinery will come on stream. It has always been the position of those of us in the refining space that revamping those refineries was not the wisest decision to take at a time. We are thought that they could have channeled those funds to other avenues than revamping those refineries and sell off the refineries. But that has been overtaken by events. They have put funds into it, and we can only hope that those refineries come on stream like they have promised that it will. But in the back of that, we have private sector players that are working rigorously to see that we attain energy sufficiency, especially in the place of domestic refining. And we are hoping and we believe that those private sectors that are working would see their plans come into fruition, and NNPC refineries, if they eventually begin to function, would only just be an added advantage to make sure that we become an exporting hub, and that's what's really exciting players in the industry.
But a lot of people argue in favor of the fact that Dangote now, with the coming upstream of Dangote, it means it improves Nigeria's energy security and somehow lessen our dependency on imported fuels. But others also argue that it's actually in private hands. So what's your position?
Yeah, you see, the world has moved towards, the world has become more capitalist inclined in the last few decades. And one thing about capitalism, if you want your economy to grow, is that you must have the private sectors play and allow government do the job of regulating. And if you want to see a lot of private sectors play, then you have to make the environment conducive for them. What we have seen with Dangote succeeding is that we are going to be seeing more actors coming to play in Nigeria, and that's why we have to be very careful with the kind of signals we send out. So it's a win-win for Nigeria to see more private sector play and have the government play less in this sector. And whatever has happened with the Dangote refinery and the other private refineries coming on stream is supposed to be a positive for Nigeria. And let's not make it a political thing. It's not a Dangote versus NNPC or the private sectors versus the government. It's actually the government creating an enabling environment for private sectors to strive and get private investors to play. If we have to get our energy security right, then the private sectors will have to play. We have them playing in the upstream, and we have seen the upstream do well. We've seen the success registered with the LNG project, and we can only just hope that the midstream, as it's beginning to emerge, would see the private sectors play leading roles, and the government just providing the enabling environment and the superstructure for them to strive in business. Okay,
let's know, what does energy security entails? What does it entails? Does it means affordability and availability at the same time, or is it something different? Because the Nigerians are still concerned about availability and price of petrol. Can the new refinery handle these two issues?
Yeah, energy security entails the two. And yes, the new refinery, and at this stage I like always correcting when I'm at interviews like this, that one would speak. When we begin to look at it from the narrow point of Dangote alone, it will create the kind of fear that a lot of analysts are exercising. But we'll begin to look at it as the refineries, the people in the refining space. As I speak to you, we have over 5 other refineries aside Dangote that are refining. So if we begin to look at these other players and look at it as from that broad perspective, we won't have this fear. And to answer your question, yes, when we begin to refine locally, we would see a reprevent price, and then we would see sufficiency in terms of supply. The Dangote refinery plant alone has a capacity of refining 650 1,000 barrels per day, and there are others that are coming at various capacities from 60 to 20 to 10 to 5 to 1,000. When these people come into play, we would begin to see sufficiency of product, and then we'll shift from just supplying or satisfying the domestic market to import to export, and that is where we would begin to cash in on refining in Nigeria, because we'll begin to see inflow of FX through exportation of refined petroleum products, and that's what we want to get to.
Okay, in terms of transition, how does Dangote refinery fit into Nigeria's broader energy transition agenda, especially especially in terms of shifting towards cleaner and renewable energy sources?
Yeah, so good thing is that the Dangote refinery is one of the youngest refineries in the world. And what that means is that it has one of the finest technologies, one of the most recent technologies that places premium on cleaner energy source. The same applies to all the smaller refineries that are coming on stream too, I must add at this point. So what it means is that because it's a newer technology, it pays more attention to more eco-friendly fuel, as had been stated by Dangote himself in one of the recent interviews. And it means that most of these recent refineries will pay more attention to the carbon footprint as released globally, and so yeah, if it distills into a more friendly, eco-friendly kind of energy source to Nigeria and globally as well. And I must add that right now we have quite a number of export going on in other refined products from the refinery as well. We have Jet A1, we have diesel, we have naphtha. We have a lot of people from other countries coming to pick as we speak already. And then, the PIA, and just one final thing, the PIA also makes provision for backward integration. What local refining does to us at this point is that what hitherto used to be the point for import, all the tank farms that used to receive imports would now be positioned to be tanks for holding export products for Nigeria. So those ones that would be demanding for dollars now would be a conduit pipe for bringing in FX and dollars into the country. Okay,
thank you very much, Echestephen Idoko, Publicity Secretary of Crude Oil Refiners Association of Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.